This is the New York City FC Pregame Live. Today, New York City look to get their fourth straight win against the Colorado Rapids. And now, here are your hosts, Glenn Crooks and Matty Lawrence.
All right, well, we're going to have to do some corrective therapy.
Yeah, well, here we are.
And the definition of childish, just look at the dictionary.
Second, guys, because
and the
there's
name
all
Matty.
kinds of stuff.
Anyway, we'll. Hey, I'm Glenn Crooks. There's Matty Lawrence again. Well, we will have to correct that. There was a 5-match unbeaten run, which was broken last week with a loss to the Colorado Rapids, New York City, losing 2-0 at Citi Field, and a 3-game win streak, which was halted. But now it's Toronto. As you can see, we're at BMO Field in Toronto, Ontario. Our live commentary beginning at 7:15 p.m. with a pregame show with Nick Cushing. And the lineup's just announced. And, Matty, I think we should just hit on that first. Yeah. One is the complete absence of Monsef Bakrar from the squad. Now, we saw Bakrar at the hotel. He's here. But the medical team has indicated that he has a slight lower body injury that he suffered or felt after training on Friday. Nothing serious. Why take any chances? You've got 3 games in an 8-day period coming up, Philadelphia midweek, and then the Red Bulls, the Derby next Saturday. And tonight, it's an important one on the road, but no Monsef Bakrar. And in the starting lineup in his place, Alonso Martinez, making his first New York City start, the rookie Malachi Jones on the left, and then Hannes Wolf will be on the right. So there's your starting group up top.
Yeah, look, it's much different from what we've seen before. Monsef Bakrar, yes, you feel something in training, but then you would imagine why bring them on a trip, because taking you to 36,000 feet there and back, for 2 hours, it's surprising. My assumption with that would be that after training, they thought he would be okay and it would be something that he would recover from. But then he woke up this morning, and this is just my assumption, then he wakes up this morning and it still hasn't righted itself. And after treatment, it hasn't got better, because
that's probably more it, right? Yeah. Because you bring him along and hope that all of a sudden,
because look, we know the travails and the troubles that he has had in front of goal. But the one thing you can never doubt with Bakrar is that he's going to give his all.
Right.
And you like him in the squad as a whole. You would want him on the bench. So we've talked long and hard about probably the last 4 or 5 games. We've said he shouldn't be starting. He should be on the bench and coming on for the last 20 minutes when other players are tired, mentally and physically fatigued. And he might get that goal that he's been striving for.
Well, here's what we've seen the last few weeks, Matty. So we've seen...
Yes,
that was in the victory against DC United, but he missed a sitter, which would have made it 2-0, and was taken off shortly thereafter. I'm not sure what game this is, but this is
I think that is the last game. I think that's just a mishit pass. I remember last game.
No, I think this is last game's mishit pass, because they were wearing the Interborough blue.
No, you're right. Yeah. That's the mishit pass, when he was, upset with himself at just not knocking a 10-yard pass. And when you're starting to hold your head in the hands about a simple mistake that anybody anywhere in the world can make, it doesn't matter whether you're Messi or Ronaldo or Steven Gerrard, whoever you may be, we all make mistakes in life on the football pitch. And that was a minimal mistake. I remember that clearly. Yes, I got the kits wrong, but you're right.
So, you've got Toronto coming in. They're unbeaten in 4 all competitions. They had a midweek game against CS Saint Laurent.
Competitions.
Yeah, well, the what now?
They're 5 unbeaten.
5 unbeaten.
Yeah,
all
2 Canadian championship games.
Okay, so and then that one this midweek in the Canadian quarterfinal was a CS Saint Laurent 3-0. They were resting a lot of people, including Federico Bernardeschi, who came on in the 77th minute and scored a goal. And he is someone who went 19 games without a goal, but then against Dallas, 2 goals and an assist, so he contributed in all 3 there. And so Toronto's coming in, obviously, in a moment where they feel very good about themselves. New York City, you can't discount the fact that they had this month of April where they gained 10 of 12 points, 3 wins and a draw. Everything happened at home. but then that 5-game homestand ending in somewhat of a dud.
It was an absolute dud. It wasn't just the result, it was the performance as well. I don't think that at any point, and even the most unbiased observer, the biggest NYCFC fan ever, or Nick Cushing, the coaching staff, there's no way in the world anybody can say they played well and they deserved anything other than the loss they got. So they need something today to electrify themselves and electrify the crowd. We know there's going to be a smattering of fans here as well, because there has to be some kind of retort. It doesn't always have to be a result, but obviously you would like a result, but it has to be a good performance. And for me, the last 2 games, they've started slowly and they've conceded goals in the opening few minutes in the last 2 games. Even the penultimate game, the previous to last one, they still conceded. What was that? In the 3rd minute, they conceded the goal to Malanda, the Charlotte FC player.
That's right, yeah. 3rd minute. Yep. And we're getting a look on the Apple Television. We've got the monitor in our booth. You can't see it, but it's Sean Johnson warming up for Toronto FC. The former New York City keeper has 99 career shutouts. 54 of those were with New York City FC in a 6-season span. So he's trying to, against his former mates tonight, get which is a very, very important figure for a goalkeeper, 100 clean sheets.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, TFC have got 3 clean sheets from their 5 home games this season in the league. This is a team who know how to perform well here at BMO Field. They've won 4. They've only lost 1. They lost that game 3-1 to Sporting KC, and I almost count that as an anomaly. Previous to that, they've beaten Charlotte 1-0, beaten Atlanta 2-0, beaten New England Revolution 1-0, and the last game, as you mentioned, beat FC Dallas 3-1. And even the goal that FC Dallas scored was only a consolation right at the end in the 87th minute after they were 3-0 up. So for me, really, they've only I consider it, they've only conceded 3 goals, and they all came against Sporting Kansas City. I'm not forgiving conceding in the last couple of minutes to FC Dallas, but the game was already done and dusted, Glenn.
So Sean is 34 years old. This is going to be his 383rd match, all starts for him. He's had 30 games with Toronto, 3 clean sheets thus far in 2024 in his 7 matches. And if you look at the lower right-hand corner, if you're watching this with Matty and I, NYCFC Preview Live, which pregame live, which we have 45 minutes before the kickoff of every game, that is Sean Johnson there in the red, in that lower right-hand portion. And in the opposite goal, getting warm, is Matt Freese, who really, Matty, provided. I was looking for highlights to maybe present to our the folks who may be watching, and this is what I came up with.
Here comes Omer Fernandez. His shot on the front post side is saved by Matt Freese. Freese had to go down to his right. He palmed it away. It'll be a corner kick. Fernandez receiving it left inside channel. Moved to his right. Just a little scissor move on Ilinic. The cover was late. He got a clean shot off and a forced a save by Freese.
Now, it's interesting, Matty, because I thought of this. That save where he redirects the ball off the fingertips out for a corner. And then Sean Johnson, his counterpart today. Sean had a great career with New York City FC.
Yes, he did.
But the one thing we consistently wondered about and maybe we're critical of is how often he left rebounds in front of the goal. Sometimes it cost New York City FC. Sometimes it did not. But I was juxtaposing that, saying, we're coming in to see Sean Johnson play. And that was the one aspect of his game that seemed not limited. It was too frequent to be comfortable with if you're New York City FC or whatever team he plays with.
I think it's our job to be critical, Glenn.
Yes.
As long as it's constructive criticism.
That's right.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with pointing out one facet of a player's game and saying he needs to work on it. If I was talking about Matt Freese, I would say he needs to work on having the ball at his feet and his distribution. There's nothing wrong with saying that. But you're absolutely right. I remember probably the last 2 seasons specifically with Sean Johnson, when time and time again he saved the ball, great, but then offered up rebounds in the middle of the goal. It's different if you offer up rebounds out wide at tight angles, but time and time again he seemed to parry in front of goal, in between the widths of the goalpost. If you parry out wide and you can't turn it around for a corner, that's fair enough, but you've got to parry it out wide to make sure that the finish from whoever's following up is from a tight angle. But Sean Johns, that was a criticism we had, but you can't take anything away from a guy who's approaching 400 league games. No. The longevity of somebody being able to do that, and that doesn't include US games, and I'm not sure whether that includes other games that he's played elsewhere.
No, we just got a close-up look at it. That was it. And we know some reaction saved you. There's not much you can do about it. But it happened on a
keepers
are trained. Keepers are trained to do this. We've been welcomed to Toronto, Matty.
Thank you.
And I you know how
we've had fun in Toronto so far.
We have. Well, and I like to always learn. You know that about me, right? Like I've learned about cynicism from you.
I'm very good at that. Which I learned from my father.
I don't know if we got this hotel note. I don't know if you read this when you got in. So it says, "Dear guest." So this hotel we stayed at close by the stadium, in an effort to ensure comfort and satisfaction during your stay, we would like to advise you that the city of Toronto begins to experience a particularly high number of midges. And I'm like, what is a midge? At this time of year, we encourage you to keep your windows closed because you could open up the window a little. So I look up at the window. So I read this and I'm looking up, and sure enough, there's all these little, but they're mosquitoes. And they, parenthetically, it's a lake fly.
Okay.
They call them lake flies. So I guess they come in and they can bite, but they're mosquitoes. I looked at them; they're mosquitoes.
I didn't
and
realize.
Look, you can see on the window here.
I didn't realize I was doing my broadcast with David Attenborough.
Exactly. Well, listen, more nature talk next week.
Yeah, I like that.
But that's so here in Toronto, we've been welcomed to, and with a warning at our hotel, and how good is that? The other thing about being in Toronto, so I'm trying to find Fulham Man City on the telly.
All the best.
And, TSN has like 22 selections on their sports network. And it was, tennis. It was a lot of hockey. And it is hockey. So we learned that you have to have Fubo in order to watch the Premier League up here. So, okay. I don't have Fubo because I'm not paying $69.99 a month for that. I'm just not going to do it. But what I kept the TV on, and the Toronto Maple Leafs were eliminated last week. Now, Toronto FC beat FC Dallas here 3-1. Stadium was half full because on that night it was elimination night for the Toronto Maple Leafs in town.
And eliminated they were. And that's all. They put on a loop, I think, this press conference with the coach. It was like the day after, and they're just. I've got to read some of the quotes. Where is I would just like to point this bit out.
Who is this is KP. Yeah, I bit the bullet and got Fubo TV. Well, I know. You know what I did once? I was on the road, and I'm a Jets fan. All right, I was on the road, and my daughter and I, we were camping. We were out in a somewhere pretty remote, but it had internet, and I wanted to watch the Jet game. And the only way you could watch it is to get it on Fubo. So I subscribed to Fubo to watch the stupid Jet game, which they lost by a lot, which of course is not unusual. But it's I'm not getting Fubo. I'm not getting Fubo. But there was here's what the NHL playoffs, and it's all NHL up here, man. I mean, it is wild. We need to win. Nothing else matters. This is like the coach, the GM. I am 1,000% committed to winning. Okay. Man, I tell you, when you hear after this, what is a tragedy, they got eliminated in the first round again. That's what happened. So, all right. And I also want to say happy Mother's Day to my beautiful wife, Dr. Mary Chaco, who has done such, wonderful work with our children. Ryan, who's now 31, Morgan, who I often talk about because we go out and camp. She's 26. She's out at Albuquerque, so I have to talk about it because I get to see my son. I just saw him recently. And, so, honey, hopefully you're enjoying your day. And I'll see you tomorrow. So,
for Mother's Day.
For Mother's Day, that's right. And, some people will go, Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it to my wife. All right. So let's get to some
Well, hold on.
Uh-oh.
Hold on.
Those
My
midgets.
notes.
Those midgets.
It's the midgets. Those dang midgets. So Malachi Jones is making his first start. The 20-year-old played 2 seasons at Lipscomb University, which, raise your hand if you know where Lipscomb is. But an amazing thing really happened, and that is the number 1 pick overall, Tyrese Spicer, who will start tonight for Toronto out of Lipscomb. His teammate, picked 8th overall by New York City FC, Malachi Jones, making his first start tonight. So they're going to go at it, which I'm very, very happy to see. I sat down with Malachi Jones this week. It's a 20-minute plus interview. It's on my podcast On Frame. I hope you'll take the opportunity to listen to this young man. Once you hear this interview, you're going to like him a lot, but you're also going to appreciate what he's been through as a human being, and you're going to be rooting for him. And this is just an example, Matty. He's a native of Sierra Leone, 6 brothers and 1 sister, who were all adopted by one family in Nashville, Tennessee. And that's Michael and Haley Jones. But here I asked Malachi about growing up in Sierra Leone, where he spent nearly the first 9 years of his life.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very different lifestyle. It's a very tough one, but I think a lot of it sort of helped get me to where I am today with the mindset that I have. I felt that the orphanage was a little hut village we lived in. You knew everybody in the area. You kind of grew what you needed. You traded for what you didn't have but needed. And so it was on one of these sort of expeditions that my dad we had grown some rice and just some different food at the village, and he went on a little journey to trade for what we needed. And on this journey, the boat flipped over that he was in, and he drowned and passed away from it. And so kind of our way of life kind of became harder just because there was not a man to provide. And in sort of that culture, the man was responsible for kind of the well-being of the family. And without him in the picture, it made life tougher, especially for a big family like mine. But also it wasn't very uncommon to have big families there because more kids meant more hands to help around. And so we kind of we tried to navigate through all of that for a year with just my mom and 7 of my siblings. And, it was tough, and we were making it work, but it just was not the best situation. This was kind of the life that I grew up in.
All right, so that's Malachi Jones, a portion of the interview I had with him sitting down at the training facility on Thursday. And we talk about more of that. We talk about his soccer, and now that he's starting. And, Matty, I think we've said on commentary, I know I've mentioned something, and I can't remember if it was during commentary or off mic when we've talked about it, but him receiving the ball at times in situations where it's like, go for it, man.
Yeah.
Go for it, man. I asked him about that, and then I'm going to come back to
I do want to ask you one thing that I've mentioned on commentary is that do you feel that there have been a couple of occasions where you've received the ball on the wing, isolated with the defender, but you didn't quite go for it to get around the edge?
Yeah.
Maybe you deferred to Santi or something like that?
I think maybe a little bit of it is a confidence booster thing. That'll come as I get more minutes and I get more into a feel for the game. But I think.
But you agree with that?
I do. I think I do agree because I think that's something Leon and I have been talking about. Is part of adding tools to your tool belt. I like to cut inside a lot. It's kind of my thing. But being able to go down that sideline and being able to use that left foot as well is also something that I just got to add into the game. It's something I did in college. It's something that I know I'm capable of doing. I just got to see it and kind of go for it, regardless of the results, the mistakes that might happen from it. Just because, again, it's a part of the game that's important and really pivotal to kind of being a successful winger all aboard.
Well, and he's going to have that opportunity tonight, perhaps. So one matchup that New York City is hoping to exploit. Federico Bernardeschi is going to be on the right as a wingback, and at times will not be recovering into a back position, which could leave Malachi Jones one-on-one against Kevin Long at the back. Kevin Long's he's a good, solid veteran defender. However, we saw him get a yellow card by fouling Monsef Bakrar for the Santi Rodriguez free kick that won the game for New York City when they played Toronto back in March. and long, isolated with Malachi Jones. That's one thing maybe we look for, Matty.
Yeah, certainly. That's if they play that way as well. I'm just looking down at the Toronto FC lineup, and I'm not sure where they are. I know it's listed down as Bernardeschi being an attacker. I think they put that there all the time. I'm wondering who will play as the wing backs.
Yeah,
because certainly in the last game it was Bernardeschi played on one side and Spicer played on the other side.
That's the way it's going to be.
And it looks like it's then Derek Etienne Jr. You would imagine.
Yeah, because Spicer's not going to be a fullback. They only list 4 defenders. We have this, we get handed these things, which are the players who are starting and the players who are in reserve, but not always the correct positions.
Yeah, look, you would imagine that Long, Gomes, and Rosted are the 3 centre halves. It's then, yes. Look, if Bernardeschi's playing as a wing back, you've got to take him back the other way when you can. But I don't think Bernardeschi has the want, or probably doesn't have the need to go back and track back. I think that what you'll have is Long coming out and playing almost as an auxiliary right back at times. But look, with Malachi Jones, I've been there and I've done that. I've come from college, gone to play professional football, and it's absolutely night and day. And it does take an awful lot of getting used to. I think what he's got to do is exploit his strength, which is pace, which is what we've said about just kick and run. This is not a game that needs to be skillful. Use your pace and kick it run. There's a lot of open space in behind Kevin Long, whether it's in behind Bernardeschi. Just knock the ball and run. And I think that then gives you the confidence. If you get past an opponent once, just keep on doing it. And also, what he also said is he likes to go, or he can go both ways. He prefers to come inside onto his right foot. But also the first couple of times, just go down the outside, kick it onto the outside onto your left foot.
He got a lot of assists that way to Tyrese Spicer at Lipscomb University, and now they're going against each other. And that's really looking forward to this moment. There's the 2 teams warming up. It's New York City on the left here at BMO Field, and Toronto FC on the right. And so, Matty, I want to close with something here, and I need to find it.
You'll find it somewhere if the midges didn't need to.
Well, I want to make mention Malachi Jones has made 2 appearances with the New York City FC 2 team, and including his only professional goal he scored against the Red Bulls in the U.S. Open Cup. And New York City FC 2 is in the round of 16s after being Colorado, the Switchbacks, 1-0 at Belson Stadium, St. John's. They will host New Mexico United on May 21st, Matty. How great is that? In the round of 16. So on their move, and the only MLS Next Pro team left. And so, we certainly wish them all the best. The one thing we were talking about Malachi, and he mentioned the guy Leon. Now, the guy on the left here is Leon Hapgood, and he's a new assistant under Nick Cushing. There you see Matty Belushi in the middle and Nick on the right. Leon Hapgood, he's responsible for the individual development programs of the young players on the squad. So when he mentioned Leon, he is spending a lot of time with Leon Hapgood, and that's good news for New York City FC. We'll see what the product is tonight for Malachi Jones in his first start. So, Matty, I wanted to show you this because I have forgotten to. Here, let me get us up on. So we got these sent to us last year. I have no idea who sent them to us, and I've never given it to you. But look at this! Isn't this nice? It's a little card. Like Crooks and Matty with a Y and everything. Sometimes you see the Matty with the IE. So nice. I wanted to present that to you. We each get one, and so you get that. I have no. I have no flies for you, but I just have that. They're up on the screen here. And then I also wanted you to show you this. I think I showed this to Roberto on our podcast, NYCFC Views. But I would like this to be one of the items on the menu for the new stadium in 2027. This is Nottingham Forest that has introduced the pizza hot dog. Isn't that nice? What do you think of that? You just had a slice of pizza.
I had a slice of pizza.
Would you go with a dog?
No,
on
I don't. I don't want to combine the two.
All right.
I'm quite happy with a bit of pepperoni on my pizza, but I don't need a whole dog.
All right.
Or midge.
And finally, and we have to cut this because at 7:15 we've got our pregame show featuring Nick Cushing, presented by Ford, part of our live commentary here tonight from BMO Field. But I'm just going to show you a picture of Mattias Pellegrini. Now, why would I show that? This is a guy who is no longer with the club. He's wearing the orange Volt kit here. This is at CF Montreal, July 1st, 2023. For Matthias, and maybe one of the reasons he's no longer here, his only goal in a New York City uniform. It was a wonderful goal. You see the sidewinding volley, and that beat Montreal 1-0. The significance there, that's the last time New York City FC has won a road match. So I'm going to leave everyone with that. Matty Lawrence and I will be talking about that on the pregame show on our commentary and throughout the broadcast, as New York City, with one win in their last 23 road matches, all competitions, no wins away from home in 4 matches in 2024. It's something that's got to happen sooner than later. We're going to see if it happens today. Well, thank you all for joining us on what is our, before every game, NYCFC Pregame Live. Myself and Matty Lawrence, who are your English commentators on the game, and let's have some fun tonight. You know, we'll have some fun. We'll try to describe it. Of course, we have more fun when New York City plays well.
I was just about to say, it's not just up to us, the fun part.
All right, so we'll see what happens. So for Matty, I'm Glenn. Thanks for joining us, and enjoy the game, everybody.